Oof. What is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993. And of course, it is January. And it's the beginning of a new year. And of course, it is that time of the year where I do add on to the recap, the retro recap and review series. As we will, of course, be watching last year's women's and men's Royal Rumble matches. And of course, add them to this retro recap and review series, as I do every single year. Now, as of today, I've gotten the women's match already watched. I still gotta watch the men's, but next week is gonna be a busy week, so I most likely will not be able to get to that men's match until the following week. Unless I can pull something off. I don't know. But you know, it's for now, today, I will do the women's Rumble match. I've watched it. I've taken my notes. I've, got my thoughts on it straight up and everything. But oof. I do remember not enjoying last year's Rumble pay-per-view. I really didn't. I mean, some of the matches were good, but the Rumble matches, This one, I mean, it's probably, as of now, maybe my least favorite women's Rumble. I mean, you can't argue maybe the first one too, because it was full of a lot of that one was more so like the nostalgia, and the crowd was dead for it because it was the main event. I don't think it should have main evented. I think it only main evented the show the first year, which was 2018, because they were making history. Even though that was very predictable, and, like I said, there was not a lot of women on the roster at the time. There was a lot of, comebacks, but it was a lot of surprises. It was still, I think I can kind of forgive that one a little bit, because it was more so, the idea that they're doing this, and they're allowing all these people from the past to come back to be a part of it, too. So that one I can kind of forgive. This one, I don't know. Again, this one might be the worst. It wasn't horrible, but there were some things I didn't like about this Rumble. One, as to how they treated the legends, or the people that they brought back. And two, a lot of them, they had already advertised them. The one thing about the Royal Rumble match that people always look forward to is the surprises. There wasn't, I can't remember who all were the surprises in this, or who was already pre-advertised, but there was a lot that I remember that were already advertised that you knew were going to be there. Such as calling somebody who barely did anything a legend. We'll explain that, of course, when we get to it. But we also did make a little bit of history in this Rumble, as we had a champion from another promotion make an appearance. And Vince McMahon, when he was around this time, as this was Vince's last Rumble pay-per-view, for now, we all know what was announced yesterday, the day before. But anyways, this was the first time, because Vince McMahon was trying to bring back some stars for a surprise appearance that he had just released. And most of them, of course, said no. And the one that appeared in this Rumble as a champion from another promotion, she said, okay, you can bring me back, but I want my current theme music, and I want to be acknowledged as the champion. So, yeah, it was kind of a history-making moment. But yeah, other than that, there just wasn't much that happened. The surprises weren't really there because, again, we knew most of them were anyways. Again, I can't remember who all was advertised and who wasn't. Well, I think the first one, I think, was a surprise. Let me see. She was there, boom, boom, boom. I'll have to mention it. But even, of course, I'm trying to remember now, too. Who did I really even want to win these Rumble matches? I know this one, I think I remember who I had my prediction for. But I think, I was like, okay, if this happens, then this. If not, then this person. Because let me tell you something. This Rumble, and of course, the men's Rumble, I remember, didn't really set up much. But I remember liking this one probably just a little bit more than the men's, but it weren't really that good. They weren't. I think I almost gave this one, I think when I looked at my grades for last year, I gave this one a C+ with my Rumble review last year. But I had to go back and give this one just a C. Because like I said, not much really happened, and I didn't like how they treated the legends. But But yeah, so as usual, I'll read off the infos, read some now, and then save like the final totals for afterwards. But this one was last year on January 29th, 2022 at the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis, Missouri. And of course, the stipulation was the #1 contendership at WrestleMania. And of course, the winner could pick either the Raw or SmackDown Women's Champion, or as Charlotte Flair did in 2020, the NXT Women's Championship. So we started off numbers 1 and 2. Number 1 was Sasha Banks, which we didn't know at the time would be, as of now, her last Rumble match in WWE, as she just recently debuted in New Japan as Mercedes Moné, and she's now the CEO. She went from the boss to the CEO. So she came out at number 1, which I was like, cool. Sasha Banks could easily be like an Iron Woman in this match. I think she was someone that I also wasn't opposed to winning this match either. Because I think originally there was rumors that she was going to fight Charlotte at WrestleMania last year, I think, from what I heard. Of course, she did not, and she would eventually go on to fight on the team with Naomi and fight for the women's tag titles in a Fatal 4-Way. And then walk out just a couple months later for the second time. But she came out number 1. Number 2 was a nice surprise. I think this one was a surprise, but number 2 was Melina. And everybody was excited to see Melina. There's been rumors for a couple years now she was going to come back and make an appearance in WWE. So obviously not full time, but she was going to make an appearance. So everybody was excited to see Melina. But then the match began. They basically just stared at each other for a good 30 seconds. And just started, mocking each other's, moves, the whole, how Sasha puts her hands up with the reins, it was like this, and this, and then Melina with her splits. They basically were just mocking each other for that. And then they barely brawled each other, and within 30 seconds after that, Melina's eliminated. That was kind of of course, not as angry of a moment, but you already knew that they were going to disrespect these legends the moment that they did that. Because it almost felt like whenever they eliminated Bryan from the Rumble in 2015. Except, of course, this one was not quite as bad. I don't think anybody expected Melina to win. But literally, you were just like, that's it? So that felt like a little bit of a slap in the face. Then number 3 was Tamina. And of course, Sasha wasted no time going after Tamina. Tamina made her way down the ramp, and I think Sasha, of course, went under the ropes, not over the top, and started attacking Tamina on the outside. They gave Tamina more time in this match than Melina. And I believe more time than Sasha Banks, because we'll get to her in a second also. So she came out number 3. Number 4 was Kelly, who I believe was announced ahead of time. I'm surprised Kelly with how many times she's made Rumble appearances. Because there's been times where, once or twice where she's had to come in at last second. I know one year, I can't remember if it was, I think it was 2020. She was a last minute replacement for Sasha Banks because Sasha got injured, I think it was. But I'm surprised with how many guest appearances she's done. I'm surprised she doesn't come back for a full run. But she didn't last too long in the Rumble. She got eliminated too within a minute or whatnot by Sasha Banks. Number 5 was Aaliyah. And this was shortly after Aaliyah had beaten Natalya in 3 seconds, 3.16 seconds or something like that. So of course they kept having Natalya trying to do some Guinness World Record thing, which was, bland. But she was number 5. They gave Aaliyah about 23 minutes, which I was surprised. Again, I've always been a fan of Aaliyah's. But again, at this time, and I don't know, if it should be revamped or not, because I see she's been doing a lot of other things on Instagram and whatnot. But I'm surprised, because especially with how they treat her as kind of an extra in NXT for the longest time, that they would give her all the time they did in this match. I'm happy they gave her the time, but I was definitely surprised. Again, another person who got more time than Melina and Sasha Banks. Number 6 though was Liv Morgan, who again had just finished a feud with Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. That really didn't do her any favors. And this again was when Becky Lynch was a heel. Because I believe Becky fought Doudrop last year at this Rumble pay-per-view. And it was a very forgettable match. But she was number 6. Number 7 was Queen Zelina. And I believe at this time she was women's tag champs with Carmella. So she came out and she eliminated Sasha Banks. Sasha was not even in there for 10 minutes, but yet they had Tamina in there longer. They had Aaliyah in there longer. They had a bunch of people in there much longer than Sasha Banks. Sasha should have been in there for at least 30 minutes, I would say. Get her like a good, run in there. Please. But that's not happening now. So Queen Zelina eliminated her. Number 8 was Bianca Belair, which of course I do like that the 3 Rumbles that Bianca's been in, when she was in NXT, the year in 2021 when she won, and even this past year, they gave her like the Iron Woman, the Iron Woman thing in the Rumble, giving her a lot of time and a lot of eliminations. Like, she's already easily one of the best women's performers in the Rumble matches. She always does great. But she came in at number 8. Number 9 was Dana Brooke. And that's when her and Reggie were together. Reggie, who is now apparently moved down to NXT and is now a masked figure named Scripps. But he came out and was at Dana Brooke's side. That's when they were doing stuff with the 24/7 championship. Number 10 was another one who does appear quite frequently in the Rumbles, Michelle McCool. And of course, the Undertaker chance did come out. She came out at number 10. Dana Brooke almost got eliminated, but she was caught by Reggie and rolled back in. But then got immediately eliminated by Michelle McCool after that. Number 11 was Sonya Deville. And this was during the time where Sonya was the official. And at first, I was liking it, but then when they tried doing this story where she was trying to be abusive of her power, I kind of lost interest in it. This was not too long after they started letting her wrestle again, because it was a while before they let her start wrestling again. But I think also, though, the storyline she was involved in also is what hurt that character. I mean, yes, she was, abusive of power, but it was one of the storylines that went absolutely nowhere because we never found out why she was doing what she was doing. But that hurt because, again, like I said, before Sonya had to take that leave of absence after her feud with Mandy Rose, I really liked what they were doing with Sonya Deville. Like, she really improved. Her in-ring work and her microphone skills were just excellent. Because remember, they put her with Dolph Ziggler in 2020 purposely because they didn't think she could talk. But after she proved she could talk, they let her go on her own. And again, if she didn't have to take that sabbatical, I was all for her becoming a women's champion. Now, not so much. I mean, I feel like, she's had some of her moments, but the momentum's died down for her. And again, it's probably because of the feud she was in at the time, which we'll get to that in a little bit. But she came out, and she did not enter the match right away. She decided to abuse her power and just chill on commentary for a little bit, and pick her poison as to when she could go in. Number 12 was Natalya. And again, the whole, Guinness World Record thing, that was kind of like her story at the time. And she eliminated her former tag team partner that she had just won the tag titles with the WrestleMania before, Tamina. Bianca Belair also had a moment where she was almost eliminated, but she held onto the ropes and her feet did not touch the floor. It was very similar to how she almost got eliminated last year with Rhea Ripley, although some people did, the year before, although some people did say both feet did touch the floor when she did that spot, but they try to cover it up. So, and Bianca, of course, would go on to win the 2021 Rumble, of course. But she saved herself there. Number 13, I'm pretty sure this one was a surprise, was Cameron, the former Funkadactyl, who of course was tag team partners with Naomi, who was the one at the time that Sonya Deville was feuding with. We'll get to that in a second. But when she came out, that's where Sonya found her open inside, and it's like, oh, look, there's a friend of the person that I hate for no reason. Let me go in there and just bully her. So she entered the match, and she eliminated Cameron and beat her down pretty good. So, of course, number 14 was Naomi. And, of course, there's the whole thing with, the enemy in the ring's like, oh my gosh, it's the person that, I've been dealing with for so long. Like moment. Naomi comes out. She first checks on Cameron, her former Funkadactyl buddy. And then she enters it, and her and Sonya just start brawling. And then Naomi eliminated Sonya. Okay. That's not the end of it, though. We'll get back to that in a second, too. Number 15 was Carmella. Again, who is the women's tag team champion. And, of course, Carmella's been gone for a while because, again, she dealt with those pregnancy issues and whatnot. So I do feel bad. But I hated how they had this character with her where she would have to go and wear this mask. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's because she wanted to wanted a reason. I mean, I haven't read into why they wanted her to wear this mask. Like, I don't know again if it's because it was part of a storyline where she's calling herself the most beautiful woman in WWE and she needs her face protected, or if for real Leah Vandale or whatever her real name is does want an excuse to wear a mask to protect herself in the ring. If that's the reason, okay, but can you get a better mask? Because she came out to the ring, pranced over, and was taking her time, and she was then getting like her mask put on. And then when Rhea Ripley came out number 16 next, she came over and just grabbed Carmella as she's still getting her mask on and tossed her into the ring when she made her entrance. And then Rhea would eliminate both Carmella and Zelina Vega at the same time, the women's tag champions. Number 17 was Charlotte Flair, who entered as the SmackDown Women's Champion. And I cannot remember what the storyline was, but I remember it made a little more sense than it did when Brock Lesnar entered as WWE Champion in the 2020 Rumble, although that ended up working out good. But I can't remember what the storyline was, but she entered this match as the SmackDown Women's Champion. And the only person I believe she eliminated at this time was Aaliyah. Then, though, we had Naomi pull off a save of her own, where she was tossed, but then she kept her feet on the ropes and did a handstand. But as she pulled herself back up, here comes Sonya Deville, who was still out there. She grabbed Naomi and yanked her off the apron and eliminated her. And of course, Naomi gave her a look like, you bitch, and like tried to chase her down. I think they just ran to the back and didn't brawl. But that feud, oh God, oh my goodness. This is during a time when I wasn't reviewing Raw and SmackDown. But that feud was like different at first. Because it started off again with whenever Naomi got moved over to SmackDown, and Sonya was obviously like just purposely like playing like, you know, the corporate figure who did not like Naomi. Okay, that's fine. But then it went on for months and 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 months until it was like, okay, tell us, for crying out loud, why do you hate Naomi so much? What do you have against her? Like, could it be like the same storyline they had whenever Naomi feuded with Mandy Rose back in 2019, where Mandy was holding a grudge against Naomi because of how she treated her during Tough Enough or something like that? Like, was it that? Like, what is it? And all it led to was a tag match with Sonya teaming up with Charlotte Flair to on Naomi and a surprise return who actually won this Rumble at the Elimination Chamber. And then the feud just ended. We never got an explanation as to why Sonya Deville did not like Naomi. So you wasted what? It started August, September, October, November, December, January, February. 6 months. 6 months you wasted and never gave us a reason why. It made no sense because after this, Sonya was back to being jobber status mainly. Well, she was still the official until she got fired from the episode competitor in the summer. And then Naomi went on to teaming up with Sasha Banks to win the tag titles and then walking out. So basically, it was a 6-month waste of time. It did nothing. There was no reason for why Sonya hated Naomi. They never revealed it. It was a waste of freaking time. Number 18 was, I believe this one was a surprise, Ivory. But she came out and was just on the microphone. And she said how everybody in the match is a lost little girl. And then Rhea Ripley had picked her up as she's like barking at her on the microphone. And Rhea just tosses her out of the ring. Number 19 was Brie Bella, who of course did, you know, acknowledge the crowd doing the yes chants, as of course you get WWE, but you can't acknowledge it in AEW. But she does the yes chants and her Brie After a little bit of offense. Number 20, again, was where history was made. Number 20 was Mickie James. Of course, this was her first appearance since she got released from WWE and got all of her stuff sent in a trash bag. Treated like crap, although she is a pure Hall of Famer and a pure legend. But she was the one that got contacted about being in this Rumble. But at the time, she was in Impact Wrestling. And she was I believe they call it the Knockouts Championship, the same championship, because she was the one who dethroned Deonna Purrazzo. She basically said, I want to, 1, have my Impact theme music, and 2, I want to be acknowledged as the Impact Women's Champion. Which she was. She got to come out with her title. So it was a nice moment there. They only gave her about 11 minutes in the match, but she wasn't completely jobbed out, because she spent most of the time fighting another legend. Now, originally, though, when she came out, though, she got on the apron. She didn't go over the top rope, so Michelle McCool kicked her off the apron before she got back into the ring. And then Mickie got a couple offense on a couple other people, and then she was eventually able to eliminate Michelle McCool, which I believe they had a feud. Yeah, they had a feud back in, 2010, the whole Piggy James stuff that was apparently god-awful. Ugh. I didn't really I wasn't watching at the time, but I just, hear crap. But, so she eliminates Michelle McCool. And number 21 was Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox. I can't remember if she was advertised or this was a surprise. I don't remember, but I don't really care because I was never a fan of Alicia Fox. Number 22 was, she had just recently turned heel at the time, but Nikki A.S.H. Almost a superhero. She had just turned heel. She came out, this was right after she had turned heel on Rhea Ripley when they were briefly tag champs. And she came out through the crowd because Rhea's in the ring staring on the ring like, okay, Nikki, come on, Nikki, where are you, Nikki? And Nikki came out from behind and tried to blindside her, but it did not work. Number 23 was the legendary future Hall of Famer, greatest of all time, Summer Rae. Yeah, she was advertised. Because we haven't seen her on WWE television. I don't think it's even, because I remember she got drafted to Raw when the draft first returned in 2016. I don't think she ever even had any TV time after that. Because she got released in 2017 with Emma and Darren Young. But yeah, she did absolutely nothing. Never was a big fan of hers. But yeah, when she appeared in the crowd on an episode, I think it was of SmackDown like 2 or 3 weeks earlier, she was acknowledged as a WWE legend. What on earth did Summer Rae do besides be on Total Divas and was Fandango's tag team partner? I still remember they had that match, what at Money in the Bank 2014 or 2015, one of the two, where Fandango had dumped Summer Rae in real life, I think, and he then had Layla as his dancing partner. And then they had a match where they were fighting over Fandango, and Fandango was a special guest referee, but instead, they both turned on Fandango and became friends. It was very dumb. But apparently, she had a history with Natalya. I don't remember why, but she spent most of this match brawling with Natalya. And then Natalya and Charlotte kind of teamed up for a second, and Natalya eliminated Summer Rae. Okay. Nice knowing that she's a legend, but got literally booked like crap in this. Number 24 was Nikki Bella. And of course, as she get there, she does her offense, her and Brie do their thing. And then there was a moment where Alicia Fox was on the apron, and they teased from 2015 when they had her, when they did that triple threat 3-team thing for SummerSlam with the whole women's revolution thing with Team PCB, which was Paige, Charlotte, and Becky, and then Team Bad, which was Tamina, Naomi, and Sasha, and then Team Bella, the Bella Twins, and Alicia Fox. They all put their fists in Team Bella, and then they turn around and they just punch her and they eliminate her. Nikki knocks her out of the match. That was brief, and who cared about that team anyways? Number 25 was a surprise entrant, Sarah Logan. Why was Sarah Logan a surprise entrant? I'm sorry. I'm digging right now with what she's doing as this Valhalla thing, because I'm digging what they're doing with the Viking Raiders right now. But just as Sarah Logan in general, she was bland. I'm sorry, again, I was never really the biggest fan of Sarah Logan, but she came out and they teased a reunion with her and Liv Morgan because Ruby Riott was in AEW at this time. But then of course that got ended quickly because the Bella Twins attacked them, and then Sarah Logan got eliminated by the Bella Twins, and moments later, so did Liv Morgan. Liv was in the match for a long time too. I forgot how long she was in the match for, but she was in there for a while. Number 26 was one of my two picks to win, Lita. I mean, she was announced ahead of time. She came out at number 26, and she spent most of the time actually fighting with Mickie James. She did eliminate Mickie, actually, then, shortly after she got in. Number 27 was Mighty Molly. Molly Holly dressed up as Mighty Molly. But then Nikki ASH had slid out of the ring and blindsided her on the way in. Basically, she would toss her into the ring and then eliminate her. She basically did not give Molly Holly any time to get offense in there. Nikki ASH just tried to get the heat by attacking her. Both superheroes and, this and that. So that was that. Number 28 was probably the biggest surprise of this match, and my pick to win if she appeared, because there was rumors, but yes. Number 28 was Ronda Rousey. I'm sorry, Ronda Rousey. And of course, at the time, I was excited. Now, a year later, I'm like, dang. Because, again, she really has not been good compared to what she was the last time. She was, the last time she was in WWE. Like, again, because I remember, the promos she cut. Because remember, they brought her back as a heel the first week. And then the moment that she picked her opponent, spoiler alert, she went back being a babyface. Which was not fitting, because Ronda should be a heel. She is now, but the run she's gone on, oof. Again, it has not been a good run. And part of it is, again, I just don't think her heart's fully in. Although watching this match again, she did do good. She looked good in this match. I'll give her that. She looked good in this Rumble match. But even like the exclusive afterwards, I saw her interview. I'm like, what the, like, Ronda was kind of like, yeah, this is whatever, bye, basically. And I'm like, is she too distracted by being a mother, or does she really just not want to do this? And she's just doing this just for a paycheck. But she came in at number 28. She eliminated Nikki ASH. There was a tease with her fighting with Nikki Bella, because they did have that feud for Evolution, which nobody cared about. But then, of course, Brie tried to get involved and double team her. But then she got out of the way, and then Nikki, it was weird. Nikki and Brie ran into each other, and then Brie, for the heck of it, just knocked Nikki off the apron. It was the first time, because anytime we've seen the Rumble matches with both the Bellas were in it, it was always Nikki eliminating Brie. So, okay, for a change, they had Brie eliminate Nikki. Brie actually got more time in this Rumble match than Nikki, which I was surprised. So, of course, she eliminated her. And then not too long after that, well, first we had Shotzi Blackheart, number 29. And then Ronda eliminated Brie Bella. And then number 30 was Shayna Baszler. She came out and they teased, because as she's entering, they see Ronda smiling. And it was really probably the first time they've ever had Ronda and Shayna in the ring in the same match at the same time. So they teased them, teaming up, and they even teased them, of course, going at it at one point too after they gained some offensive, but then Charlotte broke that up. So then Ronda would then eliminate Shotzi, and then Bianca Belair, who was still in this match, would then eliminate Natalya. And then Natalya, though, she tried to get... It was weird, because I don't know if they thought that the spot was botched or something, or wasn't convincing, but for some reason, Natalya tried to get back in the Rumble match, but then she basically just got tossed right back out by Ronda. So I don't know what the point of that was. But then Lita got eliminated by Charlotte Flair, which I was disappointed that Charlotte eliminated Lita, because at the time, I wanted Lita to eliminate Charlotte, because I thought, okay, if Ronda's coming back, which my thing was, if Ronda comes back, she's winning this. Because if not Ronda, I wanted Lita to win this. Because they could have done Becky versus Ronda at Mania, and they could have done Charlotte versus Lita at Mania, because Charlotte's not fought Lita yet. She's fought Trish, but she's never fought Lita. So that's the match I wanted for Mania. I'm like, okay, if Lita does not win the Rumble, at least have her eliminate Charlotte. That way I could set up for that match. No, Charlotte eliminated Lita, and I'm like, okay, then who's Charlotte going to fight? Which, of course, we know who it was at the time in the end. But this actually did set up for, I think, the next night on Raw. Lita came out at the end of the show, whenever the winner of the Rumble match, teased, who she was going to pick for her opponent at Mania. Lita came out and challenged Becky Lynch, the Raw Women's Champion at the time, to a match at an Elimination Chamber, which she accepted, and it was a good match. Probably the only good match of her Elimination Chamber, because last year's Chamber show was not that good. But yeah, that happened, and then Charlotte almost eliminated Rhea Ripley. I'm sorry, also, not almost, also. So the final four were Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, the SmackDown Women's Champion, Ronda Rousey, and Shayna Baszler. And then Charlotte would then eliminate both Shayna and Bianca at the same time. So it came down to Ronda and Charlotte. And they had this big stare down. And the crowd's going like ape shit, like, ah! For like a whole minute. And yes, these two had history. They were in the triple threat main event match of WrestleMania 35. But the only one-on-one match they had at this point had ended in a DQ because Charlotte Flair snapped and beat her down with kendo stick. So you thought this was going to be an all-out, like, couple-minute brawl or something. No. They stared at each other for, like, a good minute. And then Charlotte came charging in towards Ronda, and Ronda just picked her up and tossed her over like it was nothing for the victory. So, like, well, that was anticlimactic. So Ronda Rousey eliminates Charlotte Flair, and she wins the 2022 Women's Rumble. Again, wasn't that impressed with this Rumble. I mean, Ronda didn't look too bad. I'll give her that. Ronda did not look too bad. One of the only few matches she actually didn't do too bad in. This in the run she's had now. But to my surprise, again, she would go on to pick Charlotte Flair for her match at Mania. And why? I don't know why. Because you would think with her and Becky crossing paths, she'd go for Becky. But of course, Becky was a heel at the time. I feel like it would not quite have been the right dynamic. Because when they do cross paths, which I'm still hoping they will this year's Mania, but again, neither are champion right now. But I don't think a feud with Ronda and Becky need to be champion. Needs to be for the title. But again, it's like, if you're not going to do it now, like, when are you going to do it? Because I've heard rumors now that they've scrapped the match. It could be because, again, Ronda just has not had a good run. Again, this has not been a good run for Ronda. I think the only other Ronda Rousey match I've enjoyed this year, this run she's had, is the I Quit match at Backlash. That was great. Everything else, not been good. Not been good at all. But yeah, of course, Ronda wins. She would pick Charlotte to fight Charlotte at WrestleMania. And why? I still don't understand why she picked Charlotte. The story was, not really even there. But yeah, so the winner again was Ronda Rousey. The time of this Rumble match was 59 minutes and 40 seconds. Charlotte Flair had the most eliminations with 5. And then the person who had the longest time was Bianca Belair, who placed third, 47 minutes and 30 seconds in this match. And my grade, I'll give it a C. I gave it a C plus last year, but again, I didn't like how they had advertised so many of the surprises ahead of time. There wasn't many surprises. And then some of the legends they brought in this match, they treat like crap. Especially that stuff with Melina. I did not like them, how they treated Melina in this match. That was a waste. That was a letdown. So yeah. A C for the Women's Rumble. Again, I will try at some point to watch the men's. Probably won't be next week, so it'll probably have to be the week after. But I will make sure to do the men's recap video from last year before Rumble. But again, the men's Rumble. This one was... The men's Rumble... Wasn't a big fan of the men's Rumble at all last year. One of my least favorite Rumbles altogether. Not my least favorite. My least favorite is still 2015. But it's definitely one of the worst Rumbles for sure, the 2022 Men's Rumble. But that will be next time in this retro review series. So guys, I gave a C for the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble retro recap and review. What were your guys' thoughts on this Women's Rumble match? What are your opinions on how they treated the legends? Your thoughts on Ronda Rousey's run from this past year, the winner? Do you think that Lita, of course, should have been eliminated Charlotte? They should have done, well, they did do Becky and Bianca instead, which, okay, was a great match and a great way to kind of, you know, have Bianca regain her momentum after all what she had lost from the 26-second squash from the previous year. So I guess that worked out, but I still thought Ronda should have fought Becky last year. But, of course, the dynamic wasn't quite there, so they should do it this year, but they may not do it now. So what are your thoughts, of course, on who she picked and anything else you got about this Rumble? Make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. And follow me on Twitter at the Club of the Man 93. Be sure as always also to shell for Meatball Sub. And follow me on TikTok at the Club of the Man 1993. So until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys all soon. I'll see you next time in the 40th edition of this Rumble recap and review series, where we talk about the men's 2022 Rumble match. Peace out, everybody. Yeah, no one will surprise. There's no escape.